I'm very proud of my team this week for their victory on Sunday against Penn State. I think it was a hard-fought game. It needed a collective team effort to get that result. And again, I think we're taking steps with every game that we have in the Big Ten to get a little bit better. Looking forward to starting to prep this week for Michigan and Purdue, both teams that are well coached and will be competing for a Big Ten championship. So we'll have a lot of work to do to get better. Again, I said the Penn State game, I think, helped us learn some things about ourselves, and we're going to move forward to prep for those games this week. Also excited for Friday for the Rose Lavelle game. Obviously, she's meant a lot to this program and obviously has done well internationally with the U.S. national team, and we hope people will come out and support the team against Michigan and remember Rose and the impact she had here at Wisconsin.
Questions for Coach Wilkins? Brian?
Oh, there are a few games still to play, but this is a big match on Thursday, isn't it?
It is. Michigan has done very well. They in their first game of the year, they beat Penn State, which is always the perennial power for the Big Ten, and they're undefeated up to this point. So it's going to be a very good game, exciting game. So if people want to come out and see, they have a lot of very good players and they're well organized and coached. So we're going to have to stay really focus on the details that we've been working on because I think offensively they're very dangerous. Some of their movements and stuff that they do will cause us some issues, but hopefully we will be up to the challenge again like we have been the past couple weeks.
Alec?
Coach, I think earlier in the season you talked about Rose Lavelle and the impact she's had on the program, but with the day coming up this week, what has that impact been like with the success she had with the World Cup and just the impact she's had on women's soccer, your program, and all the above?
I think here at Wisconsin, one of the awesome things that happened is when she scored the goal in the World Cup final. I think that one of the last shots they talked about was her being a Badger, and just giving that recognition to our athletic department is pretty amazing. And for me as a coach recruiting, we have players contacting us all saying that I want to be the next Rose Lavelle, and they see that what we do here can help develop players at the world-class level. And so that really gives us some credibility in the recruiting world and the soccer world of what we do because she is fairly special. She's different than anything that I think the United States has created. And I think the other part is that she's made people excited about women's soccer, not just here from Wisconsin, but in the United States. She's a bit flashy. She's a little bit more creative. She's fun to watch. And because of that, I think you've seen little girls want to be Rose Lavelle now. And, you see the jerseys at the on the tournaments that you go to, and if they say Rose, like even if I was getting dinner out when we were on the road, and they saw Wisconsin women's soccer, and the first person said behind us, Rose Lavelle, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So people have made her excited about soccer. She's made people excited about it in the United States, and I've said this before, it's a great role model because she loves soccer and she's such a kind person and just wants people to be successful. It's been amazing to watch her get to the level she has.
Jay?
You're undefeated in your last 12 at home. Any reason for that? Do you play better at home?
I hope so. I think we like to defend McClymonds. We're proud of that. I think it goes to the energy of the crowd. We've had good crowds at our games. Unfortunately, on Friday, our game got postponed against Ohio State, but it was a big crowd for Pack the Mac. And I think that's just a credit that our players want to show. When people come out, they want to show how good we can be, and they want to put on some entertainment. So I think that's a good thing. I didn't even know that stat, but I hope we keep it going.
George?
Coach, the early season tests you had, like taking on FSU, UCLA, and then all those overtime matches, have you seen them kind of paid off early on in Big Ten play now?
Huge. I think if we hadn't played Florida State and UCLA early in the season, what Penn State threw at us, we would not have been able to handle. And I think it's really important to have those tests early. And even though I said to the team, we lost those games, we said that we will have learned something from it. And because of those games, I thought we were able to deal with a lot of Penn State's overloads, and we were a little bit more confident with what we were doing. So, even the Penn State game helps us hopefully again for Michigan and for Purdue. And I can't ask for it because our players have been so good just learning, taking in information. I know they get tired of my film sessions sometimes, but they really, I've seen big steps just even in this last game of how they dealt with some of the pressure they had to deal with.
Brian?
We're talking about defending Michigan. Are you a good defensive team? A great defensive team? Getting close to either?
I think we're a good defensive team because it's very collective. I think when people think about, good defending teams, they think about the back line or, the goalkeeper. But our team defends from front to back. I think the stuff that Cami Murtha and Danny Rhodes do, you don't see it in any stats, but they're able to put other teams in pressure. And the work they have to do it is pretty incredible. And then to be able to attack the way they do is phenomenal. I think the Peyton and Lauren have to do a ton of work based on our system, but they read it well, and they're doing it. So it makes the job a little bit easier. And I guess the one you really can't ignore is Maya Sella. We needed somebody to kind of replace Victoria when she got injured, and Maya's the amount of ground she covers and her ability to chase people down, for me as a coach, has been one of the best I've had in the last couple of years, and that's huge compliment considering it was Victoria Pickett and Rose Lavelle that Maya stepped into that role very seamlessly and has been a huge anchor to that. So I do think we are, but I think it's because every player, if you watch, if there's a counterattack, you'll see 5 players sprinting as hard as they can to get behind the ball. And it just, as a coach, it makes you so happy to see that commitment as a team and not just an individual. So I do think we're a good team. I think we're going to get better.